Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. It is time for another build in Solani. My last build was also built in Solani and I decided to stay in this beautiful world. Solani just makes me happy. It's such a beautiful world and I felt inspired to build a Santorini themed build. So Santorini is an island in Greece and you have probably seen these beautiful white buildings with these blue domes. It's a very popular tourist destination and it's just super beautiful. This has been on my list for a long time, maybe over a year or so. I always wanted to build Santorini and finally it's time to do so. And this build was quite challenging. Why? Because you cannot use the terrain tools on waterfront lots in Solani. But the vision I had for this build included a lot of terrain. So what I did was I used a lot of debug rocks to just mimic terrain. And anyone who's been around for a while here, pre-terrain tools era, might remember that I always loved to use rocks to just mimic the look of terrain. I always tried to create the illusion of terrain tools before terrain tools were a thing, and luckily after we finally got terrain tools I could just use them. But here on this waterfront lot it just took me back to the good old days before the terrain tools. And this was really fun because challenging is most of the time really fun for me, and I just tried to make it work. I tried to make this look like a hill, so I wanted this mansion to look like as if it was built inside a hill on top of a hill, and yeah, I used many debug rocks for this. But here I'm first working on a round shape and then I placed some debug rocks. These debug rocks are part of the base game and you can access these rocks by typing in bb.show live edit objects. So there are two different sheets to access the debug objects. There is the bb.show hidden objects sheet and the bb.show live edit objects sheet. The second one was added to the game like, I don't even know, last year at some point. So we got access to more objects, including a lot of rocks and trees. And these trees that I'm placing here are part of Get Together actually, and they are also in the live edit objects section. And they are beautiful, and for some reason I think that they just fit to this whole theme. I didn't want to use palm trees or anything. I wanted this to look like Greece, at least a little bit. It's always tricky to recreate something that exists in real life, so you just have to see what you can use and what might work. I didn't recreate an actual building that exists in real life. I just took inspiration from Santorini and from these white buildings with blue domes, these beautiful blue roofs. It's just stunning. I just ringed it. I just built my own thing here. I just tried to mimic the look of these builds so they have a remotely similar shape and the blue roofs and all that. But all that you can see here, the whole build is just, I just built this myself and made up the whole shape and layout, and as always, or as most of the time, I developed all these ideas just while I was building. I wanted to have a round shape in the front just because why not? I don't know, at this point it just happens. I start to build and then suddenly there is a random round shape appearing out of nowhere. And to create the shape, I used debug objects at the top at least. So this is like some type of fence or like some type of small stone wall. And I just placed them all around the foundation. And then I was just adding more and more rocks. And you can see how I tried to fix the whole terrain situation and the absence of terrain tools on this lot. So on the left side you can really tell that I already created the look of a hill, and then I use another debug object to just fill in the area below the round foundation pieces so it looks like a wall. When you look at these buildings in Santorini, they have a lot of round features, so I figured it would make sense to just incorporate a couple of round shapes here and there, but this wasn't the main focus. And you already saw the finished build in the beginning, and I don't really think that the round shapes really stand out that much. And my main tree for this build, this sounds weird, my main tree was the Get Together one that I mentioned earlier, but I also added some other trees and bushes. And I always made sure to just pick some bushes that just seemed to fit into the whole theme, which was tricky. I never created anything that is supposed to be located in Greece, so this was kind of It was a bit tricky, but I like the challenge. It was a lot of fun. And here I'm working on one of the buildings on this whole island, whatever this is, that has a blue dome. And I at first wanted to use a roof as a guideline, then I noticed that it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I just built my little room at the top and then I added the roof. And for some roofs I tried to be a bit more creative, and I created these domes out of different roof pieces. As you can see here, I just created the round shape. I've mentioned this in many videos, but if you want to access the advanced roof controls, pick up your roof or hover over your roof and then press Shift and C, and you will have more options to just create a lovely round shape. So I just created this weird dome because for the build right next to this one, I wanted to have a proper dome. I just used a round roof for this and I wanted to have a big dome. I wanted this build or part of the build. I mean, it's just one build, but I feel like this build consists out of multiple builds because it looks like a village. So for the build that is located next to this one, I wanted to have this proper dome. So for this one, I wanted to have a slightly different roof. And then I added a base game arch, a doorway, and I sized it up and I placed it at the bottom, and I just wanted to decorate this. So I have my shape laid out for this, and using door frames in this manner is just a way to make buildings look super interesting, in my opinion. I just love to do that. And when you are working on a base game build, for example, as well, it's just a really fun way to create beautiful mansions. And I didn't place these doorways directly on a wall, because when you do that, when you have a sized up doorway and then you place it on a wall, you still have the opening in the initial size of your doorway at the bottom. So when you do that, you have your huge doorway and then you just have a hole at the bottom. And there are two options to fix this. You either just place your sized up doorway and then you place a small doorway in its original size at the bottom inside the hole. So then you just have a regular doorway and just a bigger one around it for decorative reasons. Or, and this is what I did here, you just size it up and you don't place it on a wall at all. You just place it at the bottom on the floor and it just stands there and it just looks fabulous. So this is what I did here. And I was running into a small problem. I want to explain it so you can avoid it. So I have a closed room at the bottom, or I had. And as we all know, the lighting in a closed room is different from the outside, luckily. And I placed my doorway, the one on the right side, at the bottom inside that closed room, so the top was sticking out. And because that room was fully closed, the doorway, it looked weird, like the lighting was off. It looked super dark and gray, as if it's inside a shadow. So the doorway took on the lighting situation of the closed room it was placed in at the bottom. And then I just opened up that room so it's not fully closed anymore. I just opened up a section though, so I just divided that room and the front section is open, so the lighting was good and my doorway looked fine. So if this happens to you, if you are like super confused why the object that you sized up and placed somewhere looks weird, then this is probably what happened. This can also happen when you build a basement and then you place an object inside a basement and then you just raise it up. I've talked about this before. This is a great way to just place objects at the bottom and you just elevate them. And for basements, this fix is to just place a wall usually, and then you just place your arch inside a wall at the basement and then you size it up. And in this case, you don't have to care about the opening because it's all hidden in the basement. So in this case, you just have your basement, you just hide your dirty building secrets, and then you just size up your arch. But this is like a different situation. And now I'm expanding the whole build. I just built another room. So of course on the right side there isn't much going on yet. I kind of started on the left side, which is funny. I just noticed this. Usually I start in the front and then I build the back of the house, but here I just started on the left and just expanded the build more and more to the right side. And of course all the different sections of this build look super similar because I mean I was just trying to stay in that theme, and here I'm building another roof that has a kind of unique shape, but I decided to place another roof inside that roof, just a regular dome, so it looks better. And this decorative piece that I used on most of the roof is a base game decoration. It comes in different swatches. It also has a super warm toned red swatch, like a basic roof color, but it also comes in a blue swatch, which was just perfect for me. I just wanted to have a little decorative piece on top of my roofs, and then I added a fence around it. So here at this point, I'm just decorating, I'm expanding, and the wall color that I used for this build is a spade one. And the cool thing is that it glows in the dark, and this wall color is the brightest white available in this game. Like a couple of days or a week ago, I don't remember, someone was asking me which wall color I'm using when I want to have a really white bright build, and I like to use this one. It looks a bit crazy though because it glows in the dark, like literally it's like a lamp. But it's super bright and it always depends on the lighting of the world you are building in. Every light in each world has like a slightly different tint. In some worlds it's a green tint, and it just totally depends, but this also affects your wall color. And if you're using a basic base game white wall color, sometimes it can look a bit greenish or anything, but this wall color is just so bright and white that I don't think that any tint of light can just change its color. It's like it's crazy. It's so bright, and it also comes in different swatches, in a pink and purple, I think. It's such a fun wall color. I don't know, just I can't get over the fact that it glows in the dark. I also used it on the interior, and because these builds in Santorini have this contrast between white and blue, I decided to go for this wall color mostly because it's like so super bright, and I just wanted to create this look. And at first I wasn't sure because of the fact that it's glowing, but I think it was a good choice probably. And here I started to incorporate a couple of different colors. So I used a roof color that is red, and I also used it in another area on the left side later on. I just figured it makes the build look more interesting. I mean, like over 99% of this build is like blue and white, and I just wanted to have a little pop of color. And I also decided to add some red flowers in front of the windows, so it's another pop of color. This is also something that you would see in these type of buildings, and I think it turned out super cute. And at this point the whole shape is basically laid out so far. I just had to work on the front section, and I built some type of little deck on the right side. I had no idea what to do with this at this point. I actually built this in the very beginning. I think it was one of the first things that I built, but I didn't touch it until this point. And I decided to incorporate another round shape, and it's a place to enter the water because we have this pool ladder that came with island living that can be used in the ocean. And I think it's just so beautiful. Look at the ocean. I don't know, I just love the contrast of all the colors. It's, as I said, Sulani is just such a happy place. I love this map. And then I used a debug object to have this fence. And this fence, in my opinion, or stone wall, whatever it even is, it's a debug object. And in my opinion, it fits perfectly into the whole theme. And these debug objects really made this build work. Like when I had the idea, I had no idea if I could actually build this, if this would actually look like something in Santorini, but then I made it work. And in my opinion, all the debug objects really, they just added so much to this build. They're just beautiful. And in the back I of course also had to add a lot of rocks to just mimic the terrain once again. This was a bit tricky because I didn't have a lot of space in the back. I pushed the whole build back quite a bit. I had more space left in the front, but I wanted to have some water on the right side of the front. I also placed a little boat there, a debug boat, just for decorative purposes. So I placed the build in the back of the lot, and I didn't have a lot of space to just add more rocks to make it look really good in the back of the build. So this was kind of tricky, and I also decided to add many trees on top of the debug rocks. In my opinion, this is just so beautiful when you place trees on top of these rocks. It just makes it look so interesting. I just love that. And this little fence in the water is part of cats and dogs actually, and I just added more stuff. And at this point I had to decorate the front section. This was empty, and when you look at these
builds in Santorini, they often have these small gates in a blue color. So I wanted to incorporate a fence so I could use these blue gates, and I just knew that I had to incorporate them at some point. So the whole front section is like super empty. It's a big space, so I decided to just divide the whole area by using a different floor color. At first I used this dark blue tile, but then I used a slightly beige one. I used a fence. It's the white base game fence that just looks like a half wall almost. And then I added my blue little gate. I also used the vampire fence on the side that comes in a blue swatch. Luckily, I had to expand the front a little bit because I didn't want to place the stairs inside the water or something. I just had to expand it a little bit because, as I said earlier, I had pushed back the whole build so much on this lot that I had to expand this area a little bit. And also there are some exciting news in the world of The Sims. I mean, not really news, just rumors basically at this point. So here is what happened in case you have missed it, because I have certainly missed it initially. So it all kind of unfolded last night, but let's start at the very beginning. I think it was a couple of days ago that one guru shared a recreation of their home office. So at the moment everyone is in home office, of course, and it seemed to be a fun idea to just recreate your home office in The Sims 4. So one guru, I don't remember which one it was, shared their home office on Twitter, recreated in The Sims 4, and it was fun. We could all admire this beautiful home office, and this guru tagged or nominated another guru, and they all started to nominate each other kind of, and then they all started to share their home offices, or at least a couple of them. Again, it was all fun, and we all took a look at their home offices, beautiful rooms recreated in The Sims 4. And this was it, or so we thought, because actually this wasn't it. So last night, at night my time, I completely missed it. A couple of gurus started to treat random letters. They appeared to be random. So one guru was treating a B, for example. Another guru treated a U. So just random letters, and it turned out to be an anagram, and it spells future cube. So everyone was like super quick trying to solve the mystery. It was all super vague and just really intriguing apparently. I unfortunately missed it. I'm like a night owl, and I really like to stay awake super long. But I went to bed so early yesterday and I woke up at 6 a.m. my time, and I just missed it. However, everyone tried to solve it, and it spelled out future cube. The future cube is an object in The Sims 4. You can place it, you can let your sim interact with the future cube, and they can ask a question, they can ask what the future holds. So then people started to notice that the gurus who had recreated their home office all placed a future cube on their desks. And this just kind of tied it all together. So they were planning this all along. So what about the future cube? When you ask the future cube what is going to happen in the future, it gives you just an answer, and it's super cryptic. Apparently there seems to be a hint for letters. I'm not really sure. Something about climbing up, I don't really remember. And I don't know, no one knows what's really going on. It could be a hint about letters, or maybe it's not about a hint that the cube gives you. Maybe the future cube itself is the hint. Maybe it's a hint for a future pack. I would be so excited for this. I just love to build modern builds, as you guys know, and anything that's futuristic would be so much fun as well. And many of the futuristic objects could be utilized for all kinds of different modern builds. I'm here for a future build. I would be super excited about this. Or maybe it's about the letters, or maybe the stuff that the cube is telling you is like so cryptic that it doesn't even make sense, or no one has kind of solved the riddle. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this? Have you heard about the mystery yet? Have you solved it? Or do you think that you solved it? Do you think it could be a future pack? Do you think it could just be a hint about ladders? Ladders would be so amazing. We could finally build proper tiny homes. It's like really interesting. I'm dying for new content at this point, and to be honest, I'm just happy with anything. Ladders, future pack, just something new. But enough about the future, let's talk about what I built in the past yesterday here. So I'm furnishing this build right now, and this was difficult because I wanted this to look a bit Mediterranean, like something that you would see in Greece, and this was difficult because I also wanted to use the super white walls on the interior. I wanted to use blue floor, and the blue floor, this just didn't work out, so I used different floor tiles for different rooms. And here one of the rocks is kind of glitching into the wall, and I decided to leave it that way and to just incorporate the rock into the house. It looks like really natural, as if the house was just built inside a small mountain or something. So I just incorporated it and embraced it, and then I added an indoor pool. I mean, we have the ocean all around this lot, and of course the Sims can just have a swim in the ocean, but a pool is always beautiful and luxurious. And on these lots, on these waterfront lots, as I said earlier, you cannot use the terrain tools, and you also can't build a pool on the bottom level, like on the very bottom, because this would technically just manipulate the terrain and change it. And you can also not place any floor tiles right on top of the sand. This is also not working, so I decided to just build the pool there. This is not at the very bottom, this is on the second floor or something. I don't even know, I've completely lost the overview here, but I wanted to incorporate a pool, so I had to do it indoors because, I mean, where should I include it at this point? The whole build is like a maze, and there I can't build it at the bottom, so I just incorporated a glamorous indoor pool. And this is one of the bathrooms, and this is also like super blue. I wanted to embrace the whole blue color, so I have this blue floor tile and the sink, and I also used some island living curtains. They also have a slightly blue tint, and then I have this little terrace, a roof terrace, which is just so beautiful in my opinion. And down there is a bedroom on the right side, so when you have this bedroom you can just walk up and you have your own roof terrace. So this is kind of the master bedroom. As you can see here, the interior is kind of small. It's a 50 by 50 lot, and I used a lot of the space for the landscaping and just this crazy idea. So the interior isn't as big, so we have 2 bedrooms, and this here is what I consider to be the master bedroom. And I also sacrificed some of the space for the pool, so this could be a fun bachelor home with an extra spare bedroom. Maybe, I don't know, if you want to expand your family a little bit suddenly, or if you want to have a butler. So this is not really a family home at all. This is something different for once, and this was hard to furnish because of the stairs. I just shaped the stairs this way so I had more space, and it was still kind of a nightmare to furnish. This was really interesting. And this is the other bedroom. For this bedroom I used some light wood colors. I wanted this to look really happy. I didn't really put a focus on the blue for this bedroom, and I just tried to make it really, I don't know, I just wanted this to look really cozy and inviting. Just such a beautiful, cozy bedroom. And this is almost it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I have included some screenshots. You can find this build in the gallery, CC free, unmodded, and you can let your Sims move in. I hope that you have a perfect week. Stay safe and well, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!